Thank you all for joining today. I want to introduce Aerith Welch. Aerith is going to be leading the discussion. She works in the pharmacy department over at Munson Hospital, just right down the street here. And Aerith, if you want to take it away and tell us everything we need to know about how to be and what a pharmacy technician is, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate the introduction, and thank you guys for being here today to learn a little bit more about what it is and what it takes to be a pharmacy technician. So our little intro slide here, it says, really, truly, if you were to do in one sentence what pharmacy techs are, they are truly the eyes and the ears of the pharmacists that they work with, and really the backbone of the pharmacy in general. So throughout today's presentation, I have some videos that we are going to watch. They're short 1 to 2 minute videos to kind of highlight the work that people do. Not all of it is in Michigan. So the first one we'll see is a school in Oregon. But before we get started into the nitty gritty of it, I just want there to be general awareness of how pharmacy has evolved over the last 20 years. So in 2000, prior to 2000, pharmacists only needed their bachelor's of pharmacy to practice as pharmacists. And then in 2000, they now require that they get their doctorate, which is they're a doctor of pharmacy. And that's the standard of education now for all pharmacists coming out of school. So they are a lot more clinically trained now, with a lot more focus on the clinical aspect of pharmacy and less operations. The biggest driver of that is because of technicians. Pharmacy technicians have taken on a lot of operational responsibility of medication management, preparing medications, where once upon a time, pharmacists used to do that. So because they've taken on all of this responsibility, now in 2004, they require that pharmacy technicians now have to be licensed to practice, which is great for the profession of pharmacy technicians because they really, truly are behind the scenes getting things done in the pharmacy while pharmacists are on the floors with physicians, providers, nurses, and at bedsides with the patients. There are pharmacists in the pharmacy, but there are far fewer now than there were 20 years ago because technicians do product verification and all compounding. As we go, and we'll talk a little bit later, pharmacy technician education also is evolving. So as of right now, there isn't any regulation saying that you have to go to school to take an exam to get licensed to become a technician. However, in 2022, I needed to update this slide, but I did not. But 2022, they're going to require that you do complete a training program, whether it's an employer-based training program or a formal training program, before you're able to sit for your exam to become licensed to be a technician, which really is in line with any other healthcare profession out there. So this is a new and up and coming one. It was seen before kind of as a transient job of something you would do in the summer, but because of all of the requirements you need to become a technician, it's more of a career now because you have continuing education and things you have to do to maintain your license. So I've included a little video here that we'll watch together that is going to show some of those changes and what going to school as a technician would look like. So let me transition over my screen to show that what it looks like to work as a pharmacy technician. And this is a video coming from Oregon, which is pretty cool, a little community college in Oregon. So they've done a really great job with it. So here we go.
It's changed over the last probably 50 years. We were the ones that were just using the cash register and maybe talking to the patients. Now we're filling and calling insurance and doing a lot more clinical work than we used to be doing.
We have actually grown into doing medication history, reconciliation, so going in and interviewing the patients and trying to get the best possible med list.
There is a high demand for pharmacy technicians. And so it's something that's always going to be there. It's kind of like, it's not going to, economy isn't going to affect it like it did my job before. So it is a security because everybody needs a pharmacy tech, it seems.
My husband's a teacher, so he works during the day, and so I have my little one during the day, and then we're just kind of switch, and I go to work in the evening, and then we don't have to worry about daycare and any of that stuff.
I can just go in, do my job, help people out, and then when I walk out, it's over. And I can, it's not something that I have to take home with me and busy myself at home with work. I just kind of clock in and clock out. So I like that about it.
Once we are in the program, it takes a year. So that's really great that you can just get in and get out and know within a year that you'll have a job when you get out.
If I didn't do the program, and I feel that if I would have got a job, I would have felt more stuck and not really known what I was getting into.
The externships really are what shows you if it's for you, really. More or less, it's worth a shot because you're not going to fail in this career. It's ever growing and it's definitely lucrative and there's always room for advancements.
If my husband was transferred or if we just decided to move later on in life, the opportunity for jobs in other states is there as well, and that's the real benefit of the program.
Come here, go to school, move wherever you want to go in the state of Oregon, and you can take it with you.
All right, so that was again a community college out in Oregon put together a really nice video showcasing kind of what an education program, a formal school would look like, which is great. The state of Michigan isn't quite there. There are programs like it that do exist, but because it's not required yet, so 2022, they're not as accessible. Most of the programs are online, but very similar. They talked about externships. Those are great. So you could kind of play or practice in different areas to see what part of pharmacy really speaks to you. So really cool stuff overall. I know we've had one more other person that has joined us, which is great. So thanks for joining us. If you guys have any questions, please let us know in the comments. I'll keep my eye on that as best I can. So don't feel, it won't interrupt me whatsoever. So a very brief overview of pharmacy technicians. So there is a difference between a pharmacy technician and a pharmacist outside of licensure and education. So pharmacy techs practice under the supervision of a pharmacist. So you can never be rogue and be a technician on your own in a pharmacy by yourself without supervision of pharmacists. So in a hospital setting, they definitely are kind of at the elbow with us, helping and verifying things that we're making. There is a new, I don't know if you've heard of it, but there is in the retail setting, they've started what's called telepharmacy. So pharmacy techs really are in the pharmacy by themselves. There's requirements for that. So they have to be licensed and have so many hours, working hours. However, a pharmacist is supervising remotely, and anything that they feel is taken is recorded via video and picture taking. It looks like we have a question. So how many years of school? Also, what is the starting salary? Great questions. So as of right now, it's just there's no formal school for the state of Michigan. Every state's a little bit different. So it's just a training program that you complete. Most of them are self-paced. At Munson, we have our own employer-based training program that has on-the-job training and some in-classroom training. Other retailers have those as well, like your Walmart, Walgreens, Myers. They have very similar programs where it's on the job training. So you get paid to get trained to be a tech, which is really cool. The starting salary does vary depending on what setting that you start off in. If you start in retail, I think there is actually a really nice website I could show as well. I cannot remember off the top of my head what it is called. But it does a really great job showcasing share. I don't know if you have seen this Northwest Michigan careers. So there's different trades and skills here. Newton's Road, thank you, Lisa, is what it's called, or an organization that has put this together. So if you go to pharmacy technician, if I could find it, it does showcase that information as well for salary. I believe on the lower end, it's at 22 or 25 a year, and that's really pretty typical in retail. A lot of technicians in retail move up really quick. They have an advanced scale of like a tech 1, 2, 3, 4, I think Myers has. And they take on more and more responsibility. Outside of that, in the hospital setting, technicians usually are in the 40 to 50 range once they've been here for a handful of years and show their skills that way, which we'll talk a little bit more about later on. So I know when people ask for salary, they ask for annuals, and I operate on a hourly wage. So I can tell you our average tech wage here at Munson is $18 to $20 an hour. But the top of the end is $24 an hour. And we're working on that currently to change our range to be to the max to be $30 an hour because of the work that technicians do here, which you'll see is phenomenal and very complex. So so responsibilities of the technicians: preparing medications, inventory management, maintain data, ensure all regulatory requirements are followed. All of these things pharmacists used to do. There was no pharmacy technicians at the time to do them, and now these are the responsibilities that technicians have taken on. Kind of to circle back, what it takes to be a technician: complete a training program, get your license, maintain your license. That's a fun one. So every 2 years, you have to maintain your license by renewing. And in order to renew, you have to do 20 hours of continuing education. So that's, they require that you do something with pain, patient safety, law, and that's just to make sure that you don't that you keep up with changes that are happening within the industry, which is really, really important. And then national certification. So at Munson, we highly, highly encourage, support that technicians get their national certification. It's definitely a rite of passage for anyone who decides to be a career technician. It also allows you to practice in any state. So if you have your national certification and you decide to move to California, you would be able to apply for a California state pharmacy tech license and practice as a technician in that state. So having that national certification definitely helps you be able to move around. Characteristics. So if you're really thinking about it, these are characteristics of technicians that I would consider to be very strong technicians: high attention to detail. Technicians catch things all the time because you're preparing things pretty routinely. So an example that I shared before was a technician, actually me. So I was in a compounding in our IV lab. We make insulin drips. That's pretty standard in our hospital. And we usually use 2.5 mLs of insulin that I put into a bag that goes to the unit. Well, I got a label that said 20.5 mLs, and that is not typical, to which then you ask questions or you raise a concern to the pharmacist to say, is this right? Are we sure we want to do this? To which case they did not, and they fixed it. But those are the things that technicians just have really great eyes on, because you see things routinely and you know when something looks abnormal because you just haven't seen it before. So pharmacists, like I said in the very beginning, pharmacy techs are the eyes and ears of the pharmacist. So the pharmacists depend on you to ask questions. It's not seen as a threat. It's not seen as anything like you're questioning them. They want that in their technicians, and that's what they hope that they will do. Handling frequent interruptions, being a black belt and multitasking, because there's phone calls, medications that are coming out, medications that are coming in, things that you're trying to compound while everything's going on. That's just how it is in any pharmacy. There's a lot going on at the same time because pharmacy is integrated in every part of the hospital. Being a good team player, I don't think that's just in pharmacy. That's any job, not even just healthcare. Any job you work in, being a good team player is a must, especially today. And then adaptable to change. Pharmacy, we have drug shortages a lot. We have, like everyone's experienced, pandemics or things that pop up, and pharmacy there's a lot of change that we manage daily. Drug shortages is definitely something we manage daily. So if you think about it, if you have a manufacturing plant in Texas, if they had a big storm in Texas and they lost power, that means that manufacturing plant isn't making a drug that hospitals depend on. And that interrupts supply chain. So then you're having to change therapy, you're having to change how you make things pretty routinely, because we keep having these weather natural disasters everywhere. So that's a big one. And then strong oral and written communication skills. So you have to be able to communicate with your coworkers just to make sure that safe patient care happens.